Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Because it is Sunday and the Giants play on Sunday night. So we got a little bit of a late one for you. Let us know if we are live because we got to talk about some New York Giants football. We got to talk about the weather. We got to play Guess the Inactives, and Andrew Thomas seems to be back. So let us know if we are live to talk some New York Giants football. We are live. What's going on, my people? We are live. We are live. Everyone's saying that we are live.
Looks like we're live. We're live from my childhood bedroom.
I was going to ask, where were you live from?
So there's now a model battleship behind me that's like in progress. So that's my new background for right now.
So
and
wait, that's
on the wall.
It's a model or it's
it's
a puzzle.
No, it's a model. That's like made out of like thin pieces of wood and stuff. My dad's building.
Oh. So I was looking at the calendar. Let me see it again. Move your head again. Oh, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. So
I thought you were talking about the calendar on the wall. I was like, oh,
I think that's like a 2022 calendar too. So whatever. But yeah. So I'm in New Jersey. I went to my nephew's 8th grade football game last night. It's the coldest I've been since I moved. And speaking of weather,
yeah. So again, we're gonna play Guess the Inactives and stuff. We have our first weather controversy of the season, and it's the Giants' home opener. One of the other games was in a dome. People are saying that Danny Wood's wrong about the weather and it's not going to rain. I will say the last time this happened, where it was very, very controversial, was the Titans Week 1 game of 2022, and everyone's like,
I remember that, yeah.
And if you also say people listen for the first time Week 1, and they're like, didn't you have this weatherman that said it wasn't going to rain? And it did not rain, even though everyone was saying it was going to rain the day of the game. So he's not, it's looking bad, but not totally wrong yet until we actually get the game day.
Yeah. So we have time for him to be right on his on and off passing showers or whatever it was he was saying. But right now I'm looking at it, and other than it being colder than I'm prepared for, I think I have to buy a hoodie because it's going to be in the 50s. I don't see any rain.
Should have brought your GNS hoodie.
I should have.
Your draft hoodie. So a couple things. You're going to the game. What's like the excitement level at? It's the first. It's essentially the first game back since last year.
I mean, it's at a 10. It's okay. I'll say this: it's at a 9. So the most excited you can get for a home game, and I have only one experience with this, is a playoff game, a playoff home game. The Giants only have one, but I was there, and that's like one of those things where you can't sleep the night before. It's like electric in the air, and you keep building off of it everywhere you walk. Around the parking lot and stuff is way up there. But right behind that, I would say is, or I guess like a playoff atmosphere, because there was that same year in 2011, that was a win and get in week 16 game against Dallas. Same excitement level. And then after that, I think it's just week 1 every year, whether you're good or not. Like, excitement levels are always pretty high in the parking lot, even if it's like, a sarcastic, like, I'm sure we'll find a way to ruin this, whatever. But this is the most fun, and it's usually good weather in terms of like sunniness and whatever. But yeah, I would say a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I put out the game day graphic this morning, and my mindset is not like, let's go. It's just don't go 0-3. That's my mindset. We go 1-2, and you never know what can happen, as this season goes along. But the reality is like, you just can't do 0-3. Like, 0-2 is already bad enough. You cannot do 0-3. That's just a hole that where things just start getting real ugly real early. Like, I just want to avoid that. I don't have any delusions of this great season and Giants are going to surprise people, but let's not let this be disastrous, which is a sad place to be as a New York Giants fan. It's a familiar place to be, but just, think of last year, right? Started out at 0-2. You beat the Browns 1-2. Was that a bad week? After that, and even after, they lost to Dallas the next week and then beat the Seahawks, we're 2-3. 2-3 is just so much different. I know it sounds stupid than 1-4 or 0-5. It's so much different, despite the fact that the Giants still probably don't have. They're heading into the biggest part of their strength of schedule. So just avoid that.
I mean, you're not wrong. In some regards, it doesn't even matter what the game looks like. It's just seeing something in the win column. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I know like last week was kind of the opposite. They lost the game, but they also they put up 450 yards. They scored a ton of points, but you still lost. If they had won that game like 14-10 and it looked ugly, you just move past the ugliness and you just go, we're 1-1. You know what I mean? We'll figure it out from there, but at least we're 1-1. So I don't think it's stupid at all. It doesn't sound dumb.
And like you said, offense is king, right? Like, despite the fact that the Giants lost this week, you would think from the social media of the New York Giants account, you'd think the Giants won of all the celebrations of the 37-point outing. So, offense does make you feel better about things. That, last week's loss wasn't as hard because you scored a bunch of points. But the reality is the longer you get into the season, man, there's no such thing as moral victories, and we don't look back and be like, well, they almost won that game and they scored a lot of points. It's simply just your win and loss column. Jakob Cook says, I'll be there. First game ever, and I'm going to suite. Let's go blue.
Wow.
I
Give
feel
my
like
regards to the Rockefellers.
I was going to say NFL suites have to be the hardest suites to get into in the world, right? And except for international soccer suites, I guess.
That makes sense to me. Yeah. Those things are like impossible to get into.
Yeah. Like I just don't know how you get into an NFL suite. It's like I don't even know how you go about that besides just knowing extremely rich people. And I think even rich people are like, yeah, I can't get those tickets, buddy. Someone said hit Mahomes hard and knock his ass out of the game. You got a little feisty on the preview. You were saying just hit him as hard as you can and then hit him again.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't necessarily advocating to injure a player, but this is a particular. I mean, I'm not going to be against it if he gets hurt in the line of playing football, but this is a player that takes advantage of protection rules, and I don't want him to be comfortable doing stuff like that. And I want him to think twice running. I want him to think I need to slide when I run. That's it. And the only way you do that is to set the tone early by putting his ass in the ground. And I thought that was going to be a little bit of a controversial take because I said, I don't even care if you have to take a penalty or two, given the week that we had the week before. But a lot of people actually kind of agreed with that.
Yeah, I will say against the Chiefs, I'm way less likely to take the penalty because that's what they're good at is grinding out a drive. And to give them a second chance on a drive that may be over, that's where you lose the game. Is it worth playing Thibodeau and Goldstein? I'm assuming he's saying Goldston at defensive ends while also using Carter and Burns at linebacker. No. I will say Chauncey Goldston's injury seems like a little more serious.
Yeah.
He is questionable for this game, but they elevated Timon Fox, not elevated. They activated Timon Fox to the active roster, or stop saying elevated and active. They signed him to the active roster, which I think makes him a part of the roster for 3 games minimum. I think that's the NFL rule that if you get signed from a practice squad, you have to be on the team's roster for 53 for 3 games. So he was only listed as questionable, not doubtful. But I definitely think it's pretty interesting. I think Golston actually played a solid game last week versus Dallas, playing the run, which is what we needed him to do. But he's out. But now the Burns at linebacker thing is not like this. What that basically is them getting in some heavier personnel against 2 tight ends or whatever. If they spread it out, then what they'll do is they'll take a 5-man front and turn it into a 4-man front by putting Burns at stand-up linebacker. They did that quite a bit last year. I don't really like that, even though Burns did make plays doing that last week, but most of the times he's been out of place doing that in his career.
I don't think
Carter's the guy you could put there more.
Yeah, I don't think they put Burns back there until the Muasau concussion, though, right?
What do you mean?
Burns. I don't think Burns played stand-up linebacker last week until Muasau got knocked out of the game.
I don't remember exactly if it correlated, but that is something that they've done. It was the exact same thing. It wasn't just, let's play Burns at linebacker. It was they would bring out 5 defensive linemen, and based on how they lined up the formation, they would just switch into a 4-3 with Burns at stand up, and then 3 defensive tackles, and then 1 defensive end. Like Elijah Garcia as defensive end, and then Kayvon as the other end.
Did Smith Marset get elevated?
So I've got my my eye on that, and we'll get to the Andrew Thomas thing here in a second. Gunnar Olszewski was not seen at practice very often. He's dealing with a back injury. He's questionable.
He was out on Friday.
Yeah, and they waived Xavier Gibson, the returner that they claimed from the Jets last week. He spent a whole a one week here with the New York Giants. So if Gunnar is not active, that means who is your returners?
Like we're playing Tracy and Wandale again.
Yeah, and like who's your punt returner? Like none of those guys have had punt return practice. In fact, I can maybe even look at Giants Nation Show tweets to see who was getting some reps in training camp.
D. Williams was, but they waived him too.
Yeah, well, I'm saying they don't have any returners. Like they have Amir Smith Marset on the practice squad. They have D. Williams. Now they just don't have any returners. Which again, hopefully he's healthy. Like again, I'll right now I'm under the assumption that he's playing and he's good, and that's why that's why they didn't pull up anybody from the return game, and he's listed as questionable and not doubtful. But I just was fairly surprised. But let's see, the guys in the punt return group in training camp was Amir Smith Marset. This is before Gunnar joined. Jordan Bly, Javon Holland, D. Williams, and Montrell Washington. So the only player still around is Javon Holland, who I remember he dropped the punt. I remember right after I tweeted that. So
I am going to scream if we have an Adoree Jackson situation with Javon Holland.
It's again, kick return is one thing, but punt return is if you don't have a returner at punt returner, like I want to go back and look at this. I want to show you something. People, we forget this because of how bad this game was, and he's talking about benching Daniel Jones and stuff. Who returned punts week 1 last year for the Giants?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? No one remembers. Darius Slayton.
I was going to say, at some point, I don't remember if it was last year, but I knew that Slayton was returning punts in training camp at one point under Dable.
Yeah, they do it every once in a while. But yes, Slayton was returning punts. So I'm holding off like any, when I saw the practice squad elevations and the signings yesterday, as my blinds are putting lines through my face, like I just put my face on a Foreman grill. So like I'm just assuming Gunnar Olszewski is healthy, but there's been a lot of times with this regime where I'm like, oh, well, if this is the case, then I assume this, and it's just not the case, right? Like Graham Gano week 2 last year. So just hopefully that's not them playing a game and not wanting to, wanting to elevate, Elijah Garcia for his last time, and they also elevated Neville Hewitt, and then they signed Timon Fox, and then what we can get through this week without having to pull up a returner. Which in reality, I think Amir Smith Marset should just be on the team anyways. If you're going to give Jalen Hyatt 0 snaps, Bo Collins 1 snap through 2 weeks. And you have a returner who's injured, and the kick return position is now 2 players. It's not one only. He should just be on the roster. Like
there's no such thing as an 8th round pick to trade Jalen Hyatt for, Bobby.
It's one of those things where everyone tells me like, why do you care so much about this when I'm doing my 53-man roster week? And then we get to week 3 and I'm like, what would be nice to have Amir Smith Marset around right now. It would be nice. If
no one cares
Darius Slayton fumbles
until there's a turnover or an injury.
Yeah. If Darius Slayton fumbles a punt return today, I just don't think anybody's going to be DMing me apologizing, saying, hey, you were right about Amir Smith Marset. I'm going to close my blinds here in a second. Let's talk about Andrew Thomas. Hold on.
Oh, it's just me. We're going to talk about Andrew Thomas in a second. So super late at night last night, super late, later than normal. Ian Rappaport is the one who reported that they're hopeful that this is going to be his return. But it's going to come down to a pregame warm-up. And he's, we talked about this on the preview pod. Like he didn't do a full practice when they were padded, right? We said
he was limited, but here's the thing is that's a tricky word because of they're so strict with like the injury report. If you have if you take a snap off of a practice, that is considered limited. You could take 99% of fully padded snaps, which they did do on Wednesday. and Brian Dable said, Andrew Thomas was going to get the majority of the snaps on Wednesday. So he's been through a fully padded practice. Like, I understand he wasn't full on the injury report that day, but he has been through it. So let me Ian Rappaport, Giants standout left tackle Andrew Thomas, who has yet to play this season while recovering from a Liz Frank injury, is playing to make his debut on Sunday per me and Mike Garafolo. I also want to talk about the time of this report too. The team will be cautious, and Thomas will work out pregame to be sure what the plan is to go. Again, I think the pregame workout is simply a formality at this point. Like, Thomas is playing, he feels good enough to play, he's playing, and unless he has a setback in the pregame warm-up, he's going to play.
Dan Duggan keeps talking about a possible rotation between him and Marcus Bowe. Where do you land on that?
I mean, you got to talk with Thomas and see how he feels in the game. Like, I don't think you should go into it with a planned rotation.
I agree.
Like, if you were going to rotate, you should have just waited another week. Like, what is the point of the rotation? Like, tell me the benefit of the rotation.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm serious, but tell me from the point of, like, if someone that wanted to rotate them, tell me the benefit from that point of view.
No, I agree with you, because I don't know what you're supposed to be doing there. Are you just managing his snaps, and at that point, just don't play him. If he's not ready, then don't play him. Yeah, I agree with you.
That's where I'm at. Where it's like, if he's health wise at a point where you need to rotate the snaps, then don't. Again, we're not talking about a corner or receiver who has to run up and down the field. Like, I understand. I'm not sitting here saying you don't get tired playing offensive line, but it is not a position that you get fully winded. Again, you can, at the end of a long drive, you can get winded, but Thomas has been working out and running and everything. Like, I don't see that.
Yeah, I don't think his conditioning is what I'm worried about. It's the stress on the foot, right?
Yep. Like, that's the only thing I'm worried about is, like you said, the stress on the foot. I'm not worried about his conditioning. Eventually you got to play. I do think it's kind of funny, because you know how these reports used to come out at like 4 a.m. Every like game day report would happen at 4 a.m. because NFL coaches were and GMs are super like paranoid about teams changing game plan and stuff, when in reality they're not. And they know this information even though it's not public. They've started pushing the limit a little more. Like, they've gotten the green light to like put these out at 11 p.m. now, the night before, instead of at 4 o'clock in the morning, because this is a little behind the curtain. This is them getting this information straight from Joe Schoen and Brian Dable. Any type of game day report, it's straight from those guys. But because these reporters do a lot of bidding and stuff like that, and they get told, like, wait till game day. So I don't know if it's a Giants issue thing where it's like, hey, the seat's a little hotter, so they're letting them put it out the night before. But that's anytime Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter put out something on game day, it is 100% straight from the team. You can't put this out until this time.
Well, what does their job status have to do with the timing of the report? I'm not sure I follow.
Well, I'm just saying, like, Ian Rappaport and stuff may not cower to, and Adam Schefter
I see what you're saying.
May not, it's, you've already started noticing, like, when you see it, like, with local media, is once those guys, it's clear they're going to get fired, all of a sudden they go from defending everything to, this guy's this and this guy's that, and Drew Wilkins has, he's the biggest ego in the world. Like, it's that type of thing. I'm not saying that's the reason why. I just do find it interesting that it's been coming out at 11 p.m. at night instead of 4 a.m, which is the usual. Like, my usual Sunday morning routine is, like, you wake up, tweet out War Day, and then go see the report from Adam Schefter's and Ian Rappaport if there's any on the Giants. And then this morning it was that routine, but I was like, it happened at 11 something, and I went to bed early last night. So,
do we want to talk about the Tony Pauline report at all, or no?
No, I don't hate Tony Pauline, but I think people forget how bad he's been with Giants information in the past.
That's what I was going to say. So good.
Yeah. Thomas said we haven't decided on a snap count or rotation. I think it is. Yeah, I did watch that Andrew Thomas interview on Friday, and I I'm thinking the rotation is not just Dan Duggan randomly reporting that. I think it's something they're actually going to do. I'm of the what are you gaining from that? How is Andrew? That's and again, I can't get a good answer. How is Andrew Thomas benefiting, and the New York Giants benefiting from a snap rotation?
Yeah. And like, I'm even conflicted, even if he has a full week and he's good to go, or like, even if he's healthy, good to go, like, I'm even conflicted. Like, should he have like a whole full week of full participation practice before you even put him in there and really make sure he's ready to go and, just ready for a game? So like, if I'm even conflicted there, if there's any question about his health, then I'm saying no. So,
And Thomas is saying no too, right?
well, so that was, I had tweeted that out, right? Like, something basically along those lines. And someone had said, I wish I could remember who it was, made a good point. It was like, I think it's just entirely up to Thomas at this point, based on how everything has gone. Like, if he doesn't feel ready, I feel like he's just going to say it, and he's not going to play hurt anymore. So I actually think that's a pretty good point.
So again, and I do want to hear the devil's advocate of how that benefits. Getting to see how the foot reacts under game reps, that's why you're benefit. But here's the thing: if the foot's reacting not great, JJ, then you should pull him and be like, "Hey, we brought him back too early." Right? If there's issues there, then you need to pull him. Like, it's not a rotate him back in the fourth quarter or give him a series off. Like, you should, again, Thomas has a contract where he's not going away next year. He's very young. You would like to just be able to cash in on this investment, but so you can't play games with this, right? And I like, we're talking about a sprained ankle or something or whatever, or whatever. Like, but this is just an injury that with this particular player, you should not play around with at all. As frustrating as it may be. Christine says, I'm very concerned about the interior offensive line and this defense. I am. That is I know the Chiefs are quote unquote beatable, and we agree on this, Grump. When we do our preview prep where you're talking about the things you're worried about, I'm just like, yeah, man, last week was cool, but we can't block Chris Jones, and Russell Wilson is not ready for the blitzes that Spags is going to show, and this could be a game where they score single-digit points. Like, I hate to be where that is, and they're 0-2, and they're on offensively, they're just untalented on offense. Like, it's as simple as that. But that defense can just shut the Giants out of this game. And they're 0-2 and pissed off too, by the way. This isn't a 4-1 Chiefs team coming off a big win. This is the team that realizes going 0-3 could hamper their playoff chances for a team that has Super Bowl aspirations.
It's less so the talent and more the scheme. Like, this is a bad scheme fit for the Giants matchup on both sides of the ball. Like, I think that there's enough talent on defense to handle a drop back team and a team that likes to throw whatever. Like, I think that they can get pretty decent pressure on most offensive lines with this defensive front. I think that they can handle that. But this is a quarterback that doesn't just drop back. This is an incredibly creative offense with a quarterback that's not only talented in the top 3 in the league, but also someone that's excellent at improvising. We talked about the mental link he has with Travis Kelce and how they're just on the same wavelength at all times. That doesn't match up well. And then the defense just being a blitz heavy defense that's just disguising where the blitz is coming from is just something that doesn't match up well with Russell Wilson. So I'm a little pessimistic about this game, and I don't want to be, but it's just the reality.
It's just like you said, it's just not a great match. Hey, win this game like you did in 2017, 12-9. That's the.
I don't care. Yeah,
like you said,
just like we were saying last week. Yeah,
any victory over the Chiefs will be victory lap, like not victory lap, but like celebrated like crazy. I don't care how it happens. Okay, they're like. I remember in 2022, we beat the Texans, and I came on the podcast pissed off. Like, why are we playing like this? This would not be that. Fat Shrimp 22 says, we need Joe Judge, which is funny enough, Grump. That picture that he has, that viral picture, that was from that Chiefs game, and the Joe Judge Chiefs game. That most recent Chiefs game in 2021 is burned in my head. Because Art did the trivia of like who caught the interception that O'Shane Ximines jumped off sides for. And it was Darnay Holmes. there's just so many things from that game that like remember Keon Crossan was used as like a spy, and they would do these 3-man rushes in the red zone, and they use him as a quote unquote, Joe Judge called it the P dropper. Like I remember that. Kadarius Toney threw a pass to Sterling Shepard. That was Manning cast where Michael Strahan was like, why do these teams run routes that are short of the sticks on 3rd and down? And on a 3rd and 4, the Giants ran a 4-yard out that got completed and turned into a 4th down before they kicked the field goal. Patrick Graham put James Bradbury on Travis Kelce and Adoree Jackson on Tyreek Hill, which is like a phenomenal. It was a phenomenal game plan. Jones threw the interception, like first play of the game to Willie Gay. Kyle Rudolph had his lone touchdown that game. Let me do some trivia. Kyle Rudolph caught 1 touchdown. Who caught the other touchdown of that game?
I have
I'll give you a hint. It was the 2021 receiving touchdown leader.
So was it Darius Slayton then?
No. 2021 was Slayton's year where he didn't do anything.
Shit.
Pro Bowler.
We had a Pro Bowler from 2021?
He didn't make the Pro Bowl that year, but he was a Pro Bowler.
Oh. I don't know. Who the hell was it?
Evan Ingram.
Oh.
On a little speed out. That game is just burned in my mind.
Yeah, not mine, clearly.
Giants fans always pessimistic. Consider me the eternal optimist. I love that you, Kevin.
Yeah, seriously. I'm not shitting on you for it. I'm just trying to do my job.
If Pacheco runs, yeah, but here's the thing: is that's the. I can't sit here and say if they lose to the Chiefs, like how dare this team? Like we're gonna be mad and stuff, but I'm not gonna be like how dare this team. Here's where I will be like, you got to be freaking kidding me. Is if they run the ball well in this game because they're a terrible rush offense, and if they run the ball well in this game, I'm just gonna be like seriously. Like, this is the thing we told you all offseason. Like, you went into this year, you talked about these upgrades, but you just left your run defense the exact same. So the run defense is bad no matter what, but you just can't let the Chiefs run for 100+ on you. At least with their running backs. I understand Mahomes has, leading the NFL in quarterback rushing, but you can't let their running backs rush all over you.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you this. I'm not going to be surprised if it happens. I could see this being a game where Shane Bowen has some huge pass defense first game plan, and he just stubbornly sticks to it, even though they're running all over us. I won't be shocked. I'll be pissed, not shocked. Yeah,
I'll be pissed too, but also not shocked. Let's do guess the inactives. So we won't know the answer. It's got to be. So you need to have 48 active. They pulled up 2 players from the practice squad, Elijah Garcia and Neville Hewitt. So you need 7 inactives. For the year, I am 13 of 13. Let me pull it up. And Grump, I think, is 12 of 13.
Yeah, because we had the exact same thing last week, and we differed on 1 the first week, and I was wrong.
So do you have yours written down?
No, I don't.
Okay, hold on. Let me write mine down. That way we're not like copying off of like logic. Let's see. So I have 6 right now. I need to find a 7th. You know what? I'm going to use this guy as a 7th. All right. So Jameis is my emergency QB3. He's inactive. Darius Moasau was listed out with the concussion. He's inactive. Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles and Nacho were listed doubtful. I'm going to put them as out. I'm going to put Chauncey Golston as out. The Timon Fox thing makes me think he's going to be out. And then my 2 healthy scratches are James Hudson, because Thomas is back, and Evan Neal. So they have 8 active offensive linemen.
4 of those I think are 5 of those I think are no 4 of those I think are obvious. Moasau is obvious. Jameis is Flanagan, Fowles, and Nacho. Those are the 4 obvious ones. I went Evan Neal, Chauncey Golston, and I'm going back to Bo Braid. I don't think that they're going to make James Hudson inactive for the game. And the reason why is I think it's too risky given what you don't know with Thomas. You know, if Thomas doesn't go at all, then you're going in with just Marcus Bowe. And who knows what happens if that happens. So as much as you don't like Hudson, as much as you don't want to go with Hudson, I think it would be malpractice to just make him completely inactive for the game.
Okay. All right. So
I don't like going with Bo Braid, by the way, but that's all I could think of.
So our only difference is I have James Hudson, you have Bo Braid.
Correct.
Okay. Hopefully one of us is right, because I don't want us to both be.
I was
wrong.
this close to doing Gunnar Olszewski, but
I
better not be.
My shit like pregame.
I could see him. I can still see the scenario in which he can't go because they misevaluated or misjudged his back issue or whatever. But to make him inactive before the game would be like admitting it and not doing anything about it. So
I have a question, because it's Sunday Night Football. Could they sign Amir Smith-Marset to the active roster like before 4 o'clock today?
I don't know. I feel like the roster shenanigans rules have changed every single year since COVID, and I can't keep up.
I just know ACCO's transactions go official at 4 p.m. every day. So I was wondering if maybe they could, because of I don't know. That's not going to happen. They would have just done it yesterday. All right.
How much do you, wait. One thing quick. Xavier Worthy is not playing. How much do you think that impacts the Chiefs for this game? Or how much do you think
Quite a bit, because I think Tyquan Thornton is a deep threat, but he's only a deep threat. Where Worthy, you can do more with yak and reverses and stuff like that. And I think Worthy's a better deep threat than what Tyquan Thornton is. So I actually do think it makes it quite. They just don't have. In reality, it's just covering Tyquan Thornton, and they have no explosive threat outside of that.
Yeah, I think that's a huge impact. I thought that was going to be something where. I specifically picked him in fantasy because I was like, I think that we're going to blow a coverage on him because we have no 2025 tape of how they want to use him. They probably have some set plays where they're going to, target him, and he's going to be like the highlight of that play, and we haven't seen it yet, and we're going to get burned for it. So taking that completely out of the equation is a huge impact on the game.
Yeah, it's that I actually do think that makes a difference on the Giants' chances of winning, losing, like for all the reasons you just said. Where like they would have been, because of the way they played offense, they would have been trying to figure out a way to get more explosive, and Xavier Worthy is the best player for that. Where Xavier Worthy is the only player where if the Giants have a 4 deep coverage, that you let Mahomes throw it and try and split those guys.
Right.
Where I just don't think you're ever doing that for Tyquan Thornton. Other note before we go. Derek Gunn at Real D Gunn. He said, according to league source, Eagles head of security / coach Dom DeSandro was fined $75,000 this past week for texting from the bench area during the Jets preseason game. The team filed an appeal, but it was denied.
75,000 or 7,500?
75. It says he's put 75 thou. I'm pretty sure he meant 1,000.
That's a huge number.
Yeah, but honestly, good.
Also, fuck that guy.
Fuck Big Dom. Get him off the sidelines. He does not belong on the sidelines. He's gonna kill me one day. I just know it. Because I'm gonna go to an Eagles game one day in Philly, and I'm gonna yell, "Hey, pussy, Big Dom," and then I'm gonna be pointing at you, but like he said it. This guy.
I'll be unsuspecting eating a fucking hot dog or something too.
And don't forget, Grump, remember, dramatic reactions to everything tonight. It's prime time. We need that beautiful face on TV. So
okay, I'll do my best.
Make sure, like, whatever you're saying, it's very pronounced, being like, what are we doing? So
you can get John Boy to lip read me?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what we're going for. All right, we'll see you guys. We're not going to be live after the game because it's going to be so late, but we will be live on Patreon, and then the episode will just be dropped at 8 a.m. on YouTube, 4 in the morning or whatever on podcast app. So we'll see you guys then. Until then, let's go Big Blue.